Hi, this is Doug and Brad with the Darksliders podcast.
Hello.
So today I'm just going to kind of jump right into the games we played. Last podcast I talked a little bit about Arkham Knight. I'd only played an hour of it, and now I beat Arkham Knight, and I didn't like it.
And we've talked a little bit about this already, and you have yet to give me a good reason why you didn't like it.
I oh man, it's so hard to explain. Okay, me and Brad don't like Arkham Origins. I guess that's a good place to start. Uh,
Well, I don't think a lot of people don't like Arkham Origins.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the reason I specifically don't like Arkham Origins was because it just felt like an Arkham game. Like it didn't bring a lot new to the table. I thought the story was actually really well done, but like outside the actual gameplay to me was just like, oh, okay, I'm just playing an Arkham game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like with Arkham Knight. Like I feel like right now this is the best Arkham they could possibly do, but it still feels like those. It still feels like you're still going through the same rhythms when you're attacking enemies. You're still like pressing R1 at the same points you would like latch on and grapple away. It all feels really really similar to past Arkham games. And it just kind of felt like the entire time I was playing, it's like I felt like I've played this before. Like this is definitely a better version of it, but I definitely played this before, and it felt really kind of derivative. I think I don't know, like I think everything is it's kind of hard to like talk about just because everything is so improved, but it's just again it's just so similar. Like when you go into a fight, the one thing I did like is that they actually mix up. You have a lot of different enemy types you go against. So you really because I think in the other one you kind of in the other Arkham games you're like okay I got to take down the knife guy first and then the big guy. But now this actually
Yep.
includes a lot of the enemies from Arkham Origins. So you have like in a single fight you'd have like a big guy with a sword, another big guy. You'd have guys with tasers. There's this new enemy that can revive people and electrocute people. And you got guys with tasers, and you just got like a bunch of different enemy types. I really like that. I liked how they sort of mixed up the different enemy types with like every battle you fought. It did feel a little bit more exciting than past Arkham games. I was thinking a little bit more. Um,
But
but
basically, it sounds like you're just kind of sick of Arkham in general.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's not necessarily this is bad, it's just more that the concept of it has kind of run its course.
Yeah, it's a lot like the gameplay, especially. It just feels like I've already played 80 hours of previous Arkham games, and so it just feels like okay, this is just another 20 hours of another Arkham game, which is kind of a bummer because, like I said, it's just really really well done. So it's kind of hard to be like too mean about it. Actually, the one thing I do like, they actually have a side mission where you there's a side mission where you meet Two Face. That's not really a spoiler. It's Two Face. It's like been
You're
all
going to meet everybody. I mean, that's how it goes in every one of these games.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's basically the Predator mode, like where everybody has guns, but this time they throw like 20 guys at you, and I really, really like that. Like the Predator missions are awesome this time. Instead of just like 5 or 6 guys, you're just like picking them off one by one, kind of do the other games. You have to be really, really quick because there's just so many guys. Like you need to get in, get out. It's actually kind of cool with the predatory missions too. Is like I felt like I was actually using all the tools that I had. I feel kind of like with the Arkham games, you sort of forget what tools you have, and you can kind of get by like not using all your tools.
Yeah.
And like some of the things in Arkham that was kind of hard to pull off was like smashing through the glass to get to a guy, or doing like contextually sensitive things. Like I'm mostly like dropping down on enemies. It's kind of hard to do, but this one they've smoothed it out incredibly, and like I felt like the controls were like so on point that like every time I did something, I meant to do that. Um,
Yeah, because I feel like that does come up a lot with those Predator missions is, oh shit, I missed the little gargoyle, or that wasn't the one I wanted to go to, and things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, and this one, I mean, just because they had like 3 games to practice, they, yeah, like the controls of Batman are awesome. Um, oh, the one thing I was kind of not surprised, but I was kind of glad they did was they actually did take not a lot, but they do acknowledge Arkham Origins like quite a bit because I knew Arkham Origins was by a different team. I kind of thought like okay, we're just gonna
Yep.
kind of forget about Arkham Origins ever happened. Um,
Yeah.
but they actually make quite a lot of they make a lot of references to Arkham Origins actually, and if you've played all the games, like this is a pretty good conclusion to the series. Like I don't know, like goons will reference being at Blackgate, they'll reference being at the Asylum, they'll reference being at City. There'll be a lot of hints that they drop to like previous games that you wouldn't necessarily know about unless you played the previous games.
But they're just like subtle things, right? So if somebody is just now jumping into Arkham, it wouldn't be that overbearing sense of, oh man, I'm behind.
I think if you played City, like honestly, like right now, I think if you just played City and Night, like you'd have a great time with the series. I think like saying this is the best game in the series. I'm just kind of like I'm kind of fatigued from the series. But I imagine if somebody like this was their first Arkham game, this game would be mind blowing because it is
Okay.
so well done. Um, but yeah, I think that the story. Actually, I can talk a little about the story without getting too much into spoilers. The thing I really like about the story is Arkham Asylum. This is the end of Arkham Asylum, so watch out. I'll probably spoil Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. So Arkham Asylum ends really stupid, and a lot of people didn't
Oh,
like
it's
it.
terrible.
Yeah, so
It's so bad.
Joker takes like a veer, a fear, not a fear. He takes the Venom stuff that
Yep.
Bane uses, and he becomes Super
And
Joker.
he basically turns into Bane with funny makeup.
Yeah, it was dumb. But that is actually like a major plot point that carries through the entire series, and like it's a major plot point in Arkham Knight.
Just like Venom or the Joker specifically
Joker's
taking
well,
it.
not the Joker specifically, but like the Joker's okay. Like in Arkham City, he sends out blood packets and poisons a bunch of people with his blood.
Yeah.
Okay, but that becomes like a major plot point in this one. Like I think it's kind of cool. This dumb thing that nobody liked in Asylum becomes a major plot point that is actually super cool. I don't want to. It's really hard to talk about the story in Arkham Knight without spoiling anything. I did like the story a bit. I didn't like the tone. Um,
I say I know you complained a couple times on Twitter and things like that just about how dark it was. So I'm curious to know
yeah,
more about that.
yeah. Um, Man, it's so hard to go. It's so hard to talk about it without going to spoiler territory. But a lot of people are saying it's like, oh man, Batman seems more brutal in this game, and he is. Like it's like you're breaking bones, you're doing a lot of gross stuff. There's other things that we were kind of worried about. It's like, oh, the M rating is it going to be like more violent? Is it? It
Yeah.
is. It is far more violent than the other Arkham games, by far. Lot of deaths, no blood though, so don't worry about
Oh,
it.
of course.
Yeah, there's no blood, so which is funny because I see they can get away with a lot without showing blood. Um, but yeah, it kind of felt like Twisted Metal Black. That's what I kept thinking of every time I was playing this game. It's like the Twisted Metal Black of the Arkham Asylum series.
For those who haven't played Twisted Metal Black, I think I know what you're getting at, but what are you trying to say?
Like, okay, in Batman, Two Face is an evil bank robber who sometimes shoot people. In this game, Two Face murders everybody. Like everybody in this game is a psychopathic murderer, which is actually kind of boring because it kind of makes because all the villains like kill people constantly that it's kind of hard to separate them. Like if everybody's a psychopathic murderer, then nobody's a psychopathic murderer.
Oh, I gotcha. So, like, as opposed to the Joker's just going to go out and murder every person in front of him, but Two-Face is going to be slightly more selective, and the Riddler's really just trying to mess with people. It's instead they're just all going out to kill everybody.
Well, yeah, I guess those characters are okay. Um, But yeah, it just feels like it's a lot of the side characters. Actually, I don't want to spoil. That was one thing I really did like about the game was the side character missions. Um,
Yeah.
I think there's about I don't know, 15 different like primary side missions, and they all feature like a unique villain.
Yeah.
And
I think,
there's some
was it Origins that did that, or City? I know
they
one
all
of
I
them
think
did that
they all
before.
did that. Or no, or
Okay.
City and Origins both did that. And I don't want to spoil who's in it. But that was actually one of my favorite parts was some of the side missions because they bring characters. I was like, oh my god, it's blank. I can't believe they put blank in the game. I did kind of like the side missions. I thought the side missions were pretty good. But yeah, the thing I don't like, man, it's so hard to talk about without any spoilers. The tone is super dark. Um,
Like, dark in what sense? Like,
like
dark in just violent, or dark as in,
like
depressing?
the Killing Joke, like the
Yeah.
Killing Joke. It's like that dark, like the entire time. The Killing Joke is like one
Oh,
of the
okay, yeah.
darker Batman comic books.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there's no real hint of fun in it. You know what I mean? It's like a very serious story.
Yeah.
It's not lighthearted at all. It's like that. It's that dark like the entire time. So like when you read the Killing Joke, like let's say you finish the Killing Joke in like 2 hours or something like that. This is the same problem actually I
Yeah.
had with The Last of Us. So I like the Killing Joke, but I don't like playing 25 hours of the Killing Joke.
I got you. So it's more of like a length issue as opposed to necessarily it's dark. It's just you don't want to be in that dark mindset for that long period of time.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, like a lot of especially the side characters, some of the side character missions are really creepy. Um, this is not a spoiler, but one of the first side missions, like one of the side missions, it's one of the first things you come across is that there's this guy hanging bodies all over Arkham, and
Hmm.
he crucifies them, and then you sit there and you take like this camera that kind of that, and then you sit there and like look for things on their body that
Yeah,
show like
like the detective mode thing, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you can identify what it is. But the whole thing is like that character, his story is so screwed up and really freaky. It's almost like I was saying, like going back to Twist Metal Black, like Sweet Tooth and Twist Metal Black. Like this guy's like crazy, murdering,
Oh yeah.
slicing people up and stuff. That I didn't like. Oh, you mentioned the detective mode. This was something I actually really like. Actually, I really like everything that was new that was brought to the series, which is the detective mode. They did the thing that I was really hoping they did. Arkham Origins has a really good detective mode in that you actually have to do a little bit of detective work, kind of.
Yeah.
So they bring that back. They bring that back, and they add in a bunch of extra stuff with the detective stuff. Like one of the things I thought was really cool is going through security cam footage, and you had to
Oh, that's
find
cool.
things
Yeah.
in security cam footage, or the one thing they did like directly bring from Origins was like the virtual reality thing where you're trying to like deconstruct a crime scene.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was really cool. Shoot, man, we need to have like a spoiler cast like once you finish the game. Oh,
Once I
one thing I
get
did not like,
you.
one thing I didn't like was the Arkham Knight wasn't as imposing as I thought that they would be, because you're constantly beating like the Arkham Knight in the game. This is not again not spoilers. He never really beats you. Like you like constantly beat him. So he's like, oh ho, I'm gonna take down the Batman. But then
Oh, like that, like almost like how Bowser was in like the old Mario games, where it's like I beat you level one. Oh, well now I'm gonna run away and I'll get you next
yeah,
time, like that kind of thing.
it's that. So
Oh,
like a third of his dialogue is like him going, ah ha ha, I'll beat you, and the other two thirds are like, I can't believe he's beating us. So
ugh.
he's not super imposing. Scarecrow is really freaky. Oh
Yeah, I've heard great stuff about that.
yeah, I would say by far this the this has the best. Like I guess it's kind of like a trope in video games. Like your character is going insane, so here you see all this crazy shit, and they do that a lot with the fear gas in this one. But those scenes are probably the best I've ever seen in any game ever. Are his like
Really?
hallucination scenes? Like yeah, by
Huh.
far. Because when they come, like they kind of a lot of them just kind of a lot of them are very surprising in ways I'm not going to describe.
Yeah.
But they definitely mess with it. It's not like you just come into a room and you see something goofy. Like the whole room changes.
Oh,
Um,
that's cool.
so I guess this is a very light spoiler. There's a part where you're just sort of walking around, and all of a sudden, like the light starts shutting off, and it's like it's darker and darker and darker, and you're just moving in this hallway, and like the whole, and it's like an area you just fought in. So like you finish the
Huh.
battle, and all of a sudden, like the lights start like dimming and getting closer and closer and closer, and then there's like this single spotlight on you, and then something happens, and blah blah blah. But yeah, they kind of come out of nowhere. There wasn't enough. I felt like, but the ones that were there were so well done and really unique too. I think some of the crazier stuff that you've seen of the fear gas and like the animated series, they do that in this game. Um, so like the fear gas hallucinations were by far my favorite part, and they were so well done. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions? I feel like I just want like a 15-minute diatribe of this game.
No. I guess I don't know. I After hearing you talk about it, I guess I kind of understand where you're coming from. Because when you hear like I hate this game, and I'm sitting here looking at reviews, they're like, oh, this is amazing, this is amazing, this is amazing. You're like, I didn't like it, I didn't like it. Don't buy it. Is what you kept telling me. So
Yeah,
I guess it kind of makes sense to me. But in my mind, like the couple things you complained about, like when I played Arkham Origins, like I think I just played it last summer.
yeah,
I didn't have that stale feeling, so I'm just curious. Like, am I going to have that same stale feeling? So it seems like that's the big part of your negativity. And
yeah.
also, I love the idea of a playable version of the Killing Joke. Like, I love that.
Well,
Like
you just like
everything
you
you
like that.
described with how like dark, like the dark, moody Batman. Like, I love that Batman.
I like that Batman, but I feel like that's not Arkham Asylum Batman.
Fair point, but yeah, I mean, and again, if you think of it almost like as a next step forward in it, I mean, Batman, if you go through the comics, has so many different like tones as you go through it. It's going
Yeah,
to change eventually, and even if you look at, the movie series, you've got kind of the dark Tim Burton start to Batman, and then you've got the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin nonsense, and then it goes back to Christopher Nolan and it's dark again. So you've
yeah.
always got kind of this changing tone with Batman, and I always kind of tend to prefer darker Batman to the more like cartoonish, oh, it's the Riddler. He's telling jokes again.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But like when I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, I felt like they were more like they were more like a continuation of the animated series in tone, with like a little bit dark,
Okay.
like a little bit darker than that, obviously, because they draw
Yeah.
a lot from the comics. So I felt it was like a little bit darker than the cartoon series. And then this one is like a very M-rated Batman.
See, but I love the thought of that. Like, I
Yeah,
I love the idea of like a playable killing joke in something that is that dark, just because I don't know. I tend to like darker games like that. I feel like it just gives it this different feel to it. And
yeah,
the one I'm gonna go back to is like The Last of Us. I love The Last of Us. It had,
yeah.
I mean, it's such like this just dark, crazy story. And I know you could like made it through like what, like 3 or 4 hours of The Last of Us before you're just like, nope, not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess that's true. Like if you can handle that sort of like level of darkness, I don't know. It's just it's I don't know, man. I'll hopefully you'll get to play the game like somewhat soon.
Yeah.
I personally was kind of miffed that I spent $60 on this, but like if I spent 30 on it, I probably wouldn't be as on top of it. But it's like the first game I'd spent like $60 on like a long first forever, actually literally
Yeah,
ever.
we talked about that last time, I think.
Yeah. So I think that kind of factored a little bit into it. I think I had like too high of expectations for it. But yeah, I guess in short, this is the best Arkham. If you've played a lot of Arkham games recently, it's not going to seem as unique. But
Yeah.
it is definitely the most refined version that I think Arkham will ever be.
Oh, last thing before we move on, Batmobile. Is it
Hmm.
shit or not?
No, it's awesome. I like it a lot.
Okay.
I think one thing that people complain about is that they use the tank too much, and it is true. In the final act, you use the tank for like a half hour straight, and it sucks.
Oh, okay.
It's not that the tank mechanic is necessarily bad, and the Batmobile mechanic is actually really neat. I like the Batmobile a lot. It's just that the tank especially is used like way too much, especially in the last half of the game. It just get and it's like the same sort of gameplay. The gameplay doesn't drastically change with the tank either. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I guess moving on to the next stuff. Brad, you got the I guess Driveclub PS Plus edition finally came out. I haven't downloaded it yet because I rented it a while back. Um, so yeah, Brad, you played Drive Club. How do you feel about Drive Club? I guess here's the news first. So it came out on Thursday. The online is slowly rolling out. I'm not quite sure what that means. What does the online slowly rolling out mean?
So when you initially download it, so it came out last week Thursday,
Hmm.
and when you download it, the entire single player, the entire in quotes for PS Plus, the PS Plus edition, that's all there. But there's no leaderboards, no
Oh,
online races, none of that for the PS Plus version. And they said they would slowly roll that out over the next couple weeks as they kind of get their servers ready, since that's kind of been blamed for the majority of Drive Club's issues is this back end server
yeah. I
problem.
thought it was kind of surprising. This thing I did hear about is that they said the delay of Drive Club was it? Yeah, their beta stress test is like we're not accurate at all. Um,
Yeah.
but like they kind of admitted like yeah they completely screwed up the server side code like completely,
Hmm.
and they had to just redo it entirely, which is kind of surprising because I don't think a lot of like people will actually admit to doing that, like how bad they screwed up.
I mean, I think at this point, like, the delays that this thing has gone to, and as high profile as it was, and just kind of this idea of like, we're pretty much going to give you the full game and then you just, pay the $20 to unlock everything kind of idea.
Yeah,
I think it was just so high profile that you had to give some reason for it. You
yeah,
know what
I
I
guess
mean?
that's true. Yeah,
As opposed to just people like sitting here going like, "Oh, you just delayed it again. Why are you delaying it? Why are you delaying it? The game works. The game works." And having this idea now of going, "Oh, well, their servers, their server test wasn't accurate, so their servers weren't up and running the right way." It really goes, "Oh, well, that would make sense now that you're going to add a couple, a million people just randomly on there playing for free. You don't
yeah.
want to completely screw the thing over." So I think that whole concept, I think, is why they needed to throw out, "Hey, this is the issue."
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. I kind of wish more devs were kind of. It sucked that I mean, it sucked that somebody screwed up so bad. Somebody in
Yeah.
management screwed up so bad. But I'm glad they kind of admitted to it. So I actually haven't played the PS Plus edition. So I see in our notes here you have no shitty cars, which is really weird because like when I played Drive Club, I only had access to two cars. And like one was like a Mini Cooper, and the other one was a I don't know a Focus or no, it wasn't a Focus. I don't know what it was. Some sort of Hyundai car.
Yeah, see, so I guess coming into Drive Club, I was expecting like the way it was kind of advertised is I wanted like a Forza or Gran Turismo s game,
Oh, it's
and
not
I think
that.
maybe I went in with like a completely wrong mindset because I'm not a huge racing game person. Like the only racing games that I've ever really gotten into is Gran Turismo 3,
Hmm.
Forza 2, and then the newest two Need for Speeds, or not the newest two, but
The
the Criterion
Criterion
2.
ones, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess in my mind I was picturing it more like Forza 2, where it's like I'm going to start out with my 1998 Ford Focus, and then
Hmm.
eventually I'm going to work my way up to the point where I can get a 2015 Ford Focus.
Yeah.
But I don't know, and maybe it was different because I played through the single player what's unlocked. So the PS Plus version, basically it's the full game with lots of shopping basket icons.
I,
Every single thing that's not, I think it was like, I don't remember if it's called like campaign or career, whatever, like kind of like the main like story mode
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Every other thing on there has a shopping basket that you can go and buy.
Yeah, that's
Um,
actually in the full version too. But I think it's just because what's happened is the original game didn't have those shopping baskets, but they've had like so many updates since
oh yeah,
then.
there's so much DLC.
That they, but I don't like that because I think we talked about that once with like when we were talking about Mortal Kombat is like I don't like
Yeah,
that of like, oh, here's
being
buy
thrown
this
in your
now.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really didn't like about this is after like my first or second race, I got my like level up thing and said you reached level 2. You unlocked the, whatever car it was for single player free race or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then right underneath that said upgrade now to access your new car.
Mm,
So it's like you unlocked this because you're going through the same progression that you would in the full retail, but you don't actually have access to that car because you're on the plus version. So I looked and it's like every third car as you level up you would get. So like the car
oh.
you get for like level 4,
Mm,
7, 10, third, like that pattern. So it's like you still unlock things, but you just unlock them at a slower rate and you can't unlock everything.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, they basically PS Plus version is a free to play game, is what it is.
That's exactly what it is. And I don't I can't I mean it's been so long since they initially advertised it, so I don't even remember if they initially advertised it as that or not, but that really is what it is it's a free to play game that has a full retail version.
Yeah. From what I understand too, it's like you only get access to one area. I think you get like India or something, right?
Yep. So when you do like the just like single race mode, you can only race India. The like career mode, which is different, like circuits or tournaments, or I don't even know what they were called off the top
Yeah.
of my head, but you get the first set of tournament races in like the series mode.
Oh, okay. So,
So you get the first set of those, and then the only free race tracks you get are India, and some of the ones in the tournament piece are different than the India tracks.
oh, okay. So you still, oh, that's kind of weird.
So yeah, I kind of thought that was a little different too. That it's single race, you can only pick India, but if you're doing this piece, you can kind of see a little bit more.
Yeah, actually, the free race. I rented the game a while back, and it's hard for one. It's really hard.
Yeah, I probably played for a good hour and a half, and I think I came in second place once.
Yeah, I kind of.
Granted, I'm also the type of person who likes to like bounce off the wall to take turns, so that's probably part of the
Oh
issue.
yeah, no, you definitely cannot do that in this game. But yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like that it's like difficult because I feel like especially Need for Speed and stuff, like it just takes a while before it actually kicks into difficulty.
Yep.
I did like this was kind of like difficult just like right off the bat. It kind of
Yeah.
forced you to really learn how to because the turning system is like way different than like most racing games where you can just sort of
Oh yeah.
like feather the brake and then you're fine. But this one you really like you
Yep.
have to go into turns like real slow
Oh
before you
yeah.
can
There's a
take.
couple. I mean, if it's like like where you're going 90 degrees, it's you pretty much almost got to stop.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of like that. It took me a while to get used to, but like once I got used to it, I realized like I was like pressing brake and gas like I was going back and forth like pretty quickly, and it was kind of cool. It's like most games you just like hold the brake to slide, and that's pretty
Yep.
much all you got to do.
And drift around the corner or whatever.
Yeah, and I like that it was kind of harder to do that. But yeah, it's like it's kind of like a weird mix of like arcade and simulation racer. I think it's like in a weird middle ground.
Yeah, and I think that was part of my issue with it is that I feel like the game didn't know which way it wanted to lean
Hmm.
because it's got a lot of arcade tendencies, but it plays so similar to like a Forza or Gran Turismo.
Yeah, yeah. I actually when I was playing the career mode, I actually just went after a while. I was like, I'm just not doing very good. I'm just gonna play the free race mode. The free race mode is actually super cool because I was like I said, I only had it for a weekend, so I wanted to see all the weather effects, and
Well, the weather effects in this game are so
they're
good.
freaking crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Like it's really funny. I thought this game it was like it looked this is gonna sound so stupid and hyperbolic, but it's like it looked too good. And by that, I mean it was almost boring to look at because it looks so real. It's like, oh, it just looks like I'm watching a real race.
See, I never got to that point, and again, I think you probably played it a bit more than I did.
Hmm.
But I just like every race I did, I tried to when I was doing the free races, I different weather effect every time, and it
Hmm.
just completely changes the way things look, and even to the point where your second lap around now there's puddles on the ground,
Yeah.
and just like weird little like just very specific details like that that I'm just super impressed by that. But the way this game looks is just
Yeah, the
gorgeous.
lighting is super cool too. Have you done any of the races where you speed up time?
No, you speed up time.
Yeah, like I don't know if you can do it in the free race in the PS Plus version, but in free races when you can set weather,
Yep,
and you can also set time of day, and you can set the
yep.
speed to time of day.
Oh, I didn't. Maybe I didn't see that, or maybe it's not in the plus version. I don't know,
Yeah, but you
but
can
I
set
did
to
not
like
see that.
time 60, so you can do like a whole like night and day race and like 5 laps.
That's really
It is
cool.
super cool. Yeah, no, this game is gorgeous. Actually turned off the HUD. I didn't really like the game until I turned off the HUD. And when I turned off, I was like, "Oh, now I get this game," because it actually feels like you're in a car, which is such a weird feeling. It's like I know I'm not in a car, but just like the sound effects and like the rain like pitter
Yeah.
pattering on your window, like you can actually hear. Did you notice it? Did you like go? What camera view did you use?
I use the like pulled back right behind it, like the medium distance behind it.
Okay, if you change your camera angle to inside the car while it's raining, the sound actually changes.
Seriously?
Yeah, it changes. It actually changes quite a bit. Even if you're in a day race, like the engine sounds different if you're sitting in the car versus sitting outside. If your camera's inside the car, outside the car, and if you're in the car while it's raining, like it's hard to see because the rain is coming down so hard, and like the water pushes against the window. Have you not played? Oh man, you play like
I can't play racing games like inside there. It gives me a headache. I don't know why,
oh.
but I can't do it. Like I've never been able to do that. Like watching the steering wheel thing, it gives me a headache. Like I can do it for like a short period, but
Hmm.
anytime things start moving like really fast, it just starts to give me a headache.
There's a nice middle ground one. I think you should cycle through them a few times because there actually is a nice middle ground where you're like just inside the window with a windshield of it, so you can
Yeah.
still see the cool rain effects and stuff. But yeah, I kind of like this game. I actually kind of want to download the PS Plus version. I think I might just buy the full version though. If it has
Yeah,
like
I
the
think it's like 20 or 24 bucks to upgrade it to the full version, which I mean for a game this big is pretty good.
yeah, I was surprised. Yeah, I think it's funny because it's like $40 for non PS Plus
Yeah.
users, and it's like 25 for people. It's like, oh, okay. I think getting more people to play this will be pretty cool. I don't know. Racing games just really aren't my thing, but I think this game, like, if you just like graphics, like, I don't know, if you want to see like where games are now, like this is one of the
Oh
best.
yeah.
This is like top three best looking games ever. I,
This definitely is a great thing to show off the PS4.
yeah. Oh, this is going back to a topic you're talking about. I forgot to mention Arkham Knight is like effing gorgeous.
Oh yeah, I mean I think everybody knows
Yeah,
that just from
yeah,
trailers.
but like, I, I guess the kids like because we are talking about rain. You can actually see like the rain dripping off his cowl, and you can see like the rain effects all like dripping
Jeez.
out. It's crazy looking. Anyway, um, so enough about Batman and Drive Club. Do you have any more points on Drive Club you wanna
Nope.
hit? All right. So Brad actually played a game that I sort of mixed opinions on. But Brad, you played Ico or
Yes, I
Eco,
did.
Eco maybe. I think it's Eco. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Eco? You played the PS3 version, correct?
Yeah, I played the PS3 remake, remaster, whatever it is. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I started playing this like 3 days ago because everybody was so excited about the Last Guardian, and to this day I still don't quite understand. Like it looks really cool, but I don't get it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like I look at it and I go, "Oh, looks interesting." I don't understand why this is like the greatest thing in the world though. And I
I can
realized
understand that. Yeah.
I never played Ico or Eco or whatever it is, and I only played maybe like 3 hours of Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm thinking that's probably why. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I have these. I think they were like on a PS Plus sale a year or so
Mm-hmm.
ago. So I bought them at some point. But I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, this feels like a PS2 game.
Yeah, Ico was like a early PS2 game. Like
Yeah,
this is like when
very
they
early.
yeah, like when PS2 had like blue discs, like it didn't even move to DVDs yet.
Yep.
Like this is one of those games. Yeah, yeah. Okay?
So
Besides the PS2-ness of it, how do you feel about the game?
so I'm not quite done with it. I think I'm maybe like I kind of told you where I was. I think maybe like 45 minutes from the end,
Yeah, you're more than
give or
that,
take a
but
bit.
you're 2/3 of the way, I think.
Yeah. So this is a really weird game. Like I don't know how I feel about it, and that's kind of the feeling that I have. Like I, it's interesting, and I like how different it is, but at the same time, I kind of find myself starting to get bored with it pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's true. I won't say that it's not a boring game because it definitely is. I think it's because I think a lot of things that it did when it did it back in the day were really, really interesting because I think now because of games like Journey or Limbo or even Braid, we're kind of used to games that can be quiet but interesting.
Yeah,
And I think that just because we've had like 8 years to sort of perfect that sort of how we can make a quiet game still feel interesting and still feel fresh. I mean, this is like the precursor to all those.
see,
So
and that
there,
was kind of my thought playing
yeah.
this too. Is like it almost feels like playing the original version of Journey, of Flower, of
Hmm.
all those games you listed. And this seems like the game that was almost like the okay, we're gonna try something new here and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it definitely because it has qualities from all those games, and you can see like if you were to play Journey and play this, you could see okay, I understand how this game influenced Journey
Yeah.
very very easily. But I think it just again it's kind of that early PS2 stuff, so the controls like three dimensional wise and like jump mechanics and things like that are all kinds of wonky.
Yeah, they're kind of
And
garbagey.
but I mean that's every early PS2 game,
Yeah.
and just some of the looks obviously aren't the best, but you can definitely see okay just the mood and the tone and this idea of so the whole game you're basically dragging this princess around trying to get out of the castle, and that was the thing that I really liked is this is one of the few games I've ever sat down and played where it actually feels like no, my goal is to get this person out of this place. Because I feel like that's
Hmm.
kind of a very cliche or common theme that runs through games. And this is the first one I've played where it actually feels like that is my goal. Because there's really nothing going on except figuring out how to get out of this place.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mario. It's like your goal is to save the princess, but it's not really. Your goal is to get their level. Your goal is to kill that one Goomba. Your goal is,
Yep.
your goal is like
Yeah.
constantly changing that game, like to get up that platform. But like in this one, it's like, no, there is like a certain desperation to it of like just trying to get out of this castle.
Hmm.
That I, yeah. How do you feel? I know that besides, I don't want to talk about like the puzzle aspect and stuff because I do feel like a lot of the gameplay itself is outdated.
Yeah.
But how do you feel like the story and the tone, particularly?
I mean, again, it's very minimalist, which I think kind of goes with Limbo Braid and that
Hmm.
whole set of games now that is huge at this point and just didn't really exist back then.
Hmm.
I really like it, and I think that it's set very well. There's very, again, to the point where I'm at, limited amount of cutscenes. I mean, very little explanation of what's going on, which I always like that too, where it's kind of more of a just kind of discover this as opposed to just a here's a flat out what's going on.
Oh, I just realized something. Do you know why he's? Because I just realized in the manual they explain why he's going to the castle. Like you actually have to read. I remember having to read the manual to explain why he's going to the castle. Do they ever explain in game like why he's going there in the first place?
Well, the opening cutscene is you get like thrown into like that little green thing,
Yeah, but you know
and
like
then
why he's getting thrown in there or not or not.
nope. I just know that he got thrown in there, and then now you're rescuing the princess.
Oh,
And
that's really
doesn't it
interesting.
have something to do with his horns on his head or something? Because they
Yeah, yeah,
keep making
yeah.
reference to that.
Yeah, I guess I just realized because like that paragraph in which they actually set up the game is actually in the manual. Even there's probably a manual you can find like on the disc somewhere, but it's kind of important. But the whole concept is like this village has this curse. They think there's a curse on it, and every once in a while, a child will be born with horns, and then when they turn 12, they take him to this castle to basically leave him to starve to death.
Oh,
So when he gets
yeah,
put
that
in,
kind of.
yeah, so when he gets put in that green chamber to begin with, you see that there's like a whole host of green chambers.
Yeah,
So they've been
which
doing
would
this
be
for like
all the
hundreds of
other.
years.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that would have been helpful to know.
So that's the thing. I thought that I love the kind of like yeah. I guess you wouldn't really know that unless you read it. But that's the kind of thing I really liked about the game. I really like the tone a lot because it's very um, empty. Like I
Yes.
feel like you never really feel safe.
Hmm.
I like that. I like that it is like a single place too. I thought that was kind of cool. Like it's kind of like the Resident Evil 1 mansion. Like you're just at this castle.
Yeah, and it kind of. I mean, and you loop back through a couple places at different times too, and
Hmm.
yeah. I don't know. I'm curious just to see the end of it, just to see kind of what ends up happening with it. But it's a very interesting game, and having played that now, in the little bit I've played of Shadow of the Colossus, it totally makes me understand why people are so pumped about The Last Guardian.
Yeah,
Because just to see the more modern take on that, now seeing what other companies have kind of gone off of this formula with, to kind of
mhm,
see it come back like full circle. Okay, these are the guys who kind of. I'm sure there were games before this that did this, but
yeah,
I mean, this is kind of, I feel like, one of the more of the early games where it's just, okay, we're going to be quiet. We're just going to have everything kind of toned down. We're
mhm,
not going to give you a giant gun. We're not going to let you just run around and kill
mhm.
stuff. You got a stick and eventually a sword.
Yeah, that you can like sort of use sometimes, and sometimes you can't. Like, yeah, like the management of like the sword and the stick, because like the sword is really nice for combat, but you can't use it as a torch, and like
Yeah, you
that's a.
can't do anything. Yeah.
One thing going back to the story that I really like is that so the whole thing is like to get this girl at the castle, and he doesn't know why she's in the castle. You don't really find out why she's in the castle till later. But I like the idea of like even if they escape, like they have no plan B. Like he's a kid. He's like, oh, I just got to protect this girl, and we got to get out of the
Yeah.
castle. But
Yep.
like his village wanted to kill him. Like there's nothing for him to go back to. And I like that idea. It's just like a better situation than the one they're currently in, but it's still not a good situation.
Huh. Yeah.
And that kind of goes into actually goes into Shadow of the Colossus as well, where it's kind of a bad situation
Yeah.
um, that never really rectifies itself. Like there's not really a good ending to these games. I mean, they're like melancholy. Melancholy. These games are melancholy,
Yes, that is a fantastic word.
and I really like that. I hope you get to play Shadow of the Colossus because and actually finish Shadow of the Colossus because there's a lot of neat connections between the two games.
Yeah, I'm probably get to that some point over the next couple of months here after I finish this one up, because I do have that as well. So
Hmm. All right. Well, damn, that was a long time on games we played. But that's because there wasn't a lot of news this week. I mean, post E3. I mean, what's there
yeah,
to really talk
everybody's
about?
on there. Everybody's taking a break.
Yeah, nobody's really announcing games. Speaking of taking a break, Bethesda has decided that they're probably not going to have a conference next year.
Yeah, which I don't I, I don't feel like anybody's surprised by this.
No, I think they'll have a they'll probably have one like once they're ready to announce whatever the new Elder Scrolls is. But yeah, I mean, like the conference they had was really sparse.
Yeah, there. I mean, we talked about this last week. There were like 3 games there, and
Hmm.
I think one of the quotes that I don't remember who it was that they were interviewing said was, "It just kind of everything kind of aligned that we had all this stuff to show." 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah.
Bethesda is traditionally the middle of the conference.
Hmm.
Phil Spencer brings them out on stage to talk about the new whatever game, and they just
Hmm.
kind of hype up the Xbox or Sony conference. But yeah, I don't think anybody's surprised by this. Their conference was good.
Yeah. But it was just two games. Like it was like two and a
Dishonored.
half games. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, Dishonored was like we're working on it, not like actually anything to show.
that's true. Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, I don't think anybody's really super bummed about this. I think it's just kind of a
mhm.
we all know.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the only games they really have after this that they're going to be able to show is going to be, um, I guess, does Mikami still work for them? Mikami did Evil Within. I know it's a Bethesda game,
I
but
don't
basically
know off the top of my
they
head.
got him and Machine Gun Games, and
Yeah,
like I'm sure whatever they're working on is still pretty early because they both sort of released a game semi recently, like Evil Within and Wolfenstein, so they got a
they're
while
both
before
last
they
year. Yeah.
start.
Well, and
Yeah.
the thing too is both these games will be out by next E3.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So like, I mean, basically, yeah, you've got whatever Machine Gun Games is working on, and that's not enough to fill a press conference.
No, and I'm sure. I mean, as much as I like, actually really do appreciate Machine Gun Games, I can't imagine it's not going to be Fallout or Doom caliber.
No. Oh no, not at all.
Yeah. And some of the stuff we kind of I missed at E3. Actually, missed a lot of stuff. But this is kind of like one of the major games we sort of didn't really talk about was Transformer Devastation,
Oh
which is a
yeah.
cool name for a Transformers game. Um, so I'm actually not a Transformers fan. I am. I'm a Beast Wars fan.
I mean, that's kind of the same thing, just 10 years later.
Yeah, more like I think more like 20 years. I don't know how old.
Well, G1 was in the 80s, and Beast Wars was mid 90s, I want to say. Mid, late
Oh,
90s.
yeah, I guess that's true.
So I think maybe 10, maybe 15 years. I don't know exactly when
Hmm.
Transformers was in the 80s off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about this. This game looks awesome. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this last week on our E3 podcast, but it didn't really come up at any of the conferences. It was just kind of almost a throwaway announcement kind of on the side there that just, oh yeah, Platinum Games is working on a Transformers game, which to me is huge, but maybe
Hmm.
it's not as big as I like to think it is.
I think this is cool because it's a niche game. It's really niche. I mean, Transformers is like I mean, a lot of kids like Transformers, but it's G1
I
Transformers.
say, but not this Transformers. This isn't
Yeah.
Transformers the movie tie-in. This is Transformers the '80s cartoon tie-in, to the point where they even have the same voice actors from the '80s cartoon characters.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty cool. I like that, and I thought it's kind of cool. That's also like an Activision game. Like
Yeah.
Activision is doing it. I mean, they also did Legend of Korra with Platinum. That's why I'm a little hesitant on this game as well. But it's kind of neat that Activision is like kind of finding it's like, oh, well, there's these niche audiences that don't have games yet, or they haven't gotten a
Hmm.
good game in a while. And I don't think there's actually. I can't even remember the last time there's been a G1 Transformers game. It's been a long ass time.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, well, because the last series was the High Moon Studios, which or series, which was uh, War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, which were great games. I loved both those games,
mhm.
but those didn't necessarily tie in with anything. That was more of just a Transformers story, kind of told around their own ideas. So
Yeah. Well, this one I've heard is kind of like that too. Like it's heavily inspired by G1 and
yeah,
uses a lot of the same art style, but I've heard it's like they are like trying to separate themselves a little bit. They're more inspired by the comics rather than the actual cartoon.
which is fine with me because I don't know. I don't. I like the art. The art style is reminiscent of the cartoons. The voice actors are from the cartoons.
Hmm.
Do whatever else you want from wherever else you want story wise. I mean, I don't think anybody is sitting here going, "Man, G1 Transformers had just this deep, engaging story."
Oh, there's a lot of people who say
Oh,
that.
well, I'll cut that part out.
No, it's just like I don't know. It's a lot of the '80s cartoons. I think people read a little bit too much into them.
Oh yeah,
Maybe I will cut that part out.
yeah, probably that sounds insulting to somebody.
Yeah, no, I think it's a cool game. I think it's cool that Activision is doing a niche game. I'm glad they're taking have a popular property and not doing the. It's kind of like having Tron in Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
It's it's not necessarily the smart thing to do, um, but
but
it's definitely
there's an audience that wants it.
yeah, exactly. And it's not like they're not. It's not like a AAA game by any. I mean, it's a platinum game that it's like a third party. It's a platinum game being funded by somebody else, which means it's going to be a very small platinum game.
Yep.
Um, and on the only other reference we really have is Legend of Korra. So I'm kind of thinking this is probably going to be B Team Platinum. So um,
Well, I mean, they've got a lot of stuff that they're working on too right now. So I mean,
yeah,
you're spreading yourself kind of thin when you think about it. Because they got this, they've got Scalebound. They were working on Star Fox.
but yeah, no, I think they're really yeah. But I don't know. They seem to get these games going. Like I don't know whatever Platinum's doing, but they're really good at churning out games like on a really and
Oh yeah.
they do decent games. Like even their worst games, like okay, like they're
I,
not.
I say I don't think I've ever played a Platinum game and gone, man, I'm disappointed by that.
Yeah, they're just like oh, like the worst thing to say is like that was good. That was above average.
Hmm.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think it's kind of cool. I'm not super into Transformers. Like if they announced a Beast Wars game on their hand, then I'd be like, oh my god.
I don't
Because
really think there's as big of an audience for Beast Wars as there is
I
for
think there's
Transformers.
there's a huge unspoken audience for Beast Wars.
And that's the problem, unspoken. Nobody said shit, and they're not just gonna go. I'll bet there's people who want this, but just won't say anything about it.
Hmm.
Too
That's true.
ashamed to be.
Bring back Cheetor. Um, a lot of really light, kind of small news. This is kind of cool. Mafia 3 is coming. And basically the way we know it is because Take Two, they sort of registered a bunch of domain names for URLs. So it's basically like Mafia 3 game, Mafia 3 game, Mafia 3, Mafia 3 Take Two. It's just a bunch of, basically they're going to announce Mafia 3 really, really effing soon. And I'm excited, but really hesitant because I know that this Mafia 3 specifically has been rebooted like twice.
Yeah, I feel like this is a game that you hear something about every, not necessarily 6 months, but at least once a year for like the
Hmm.
past 3 or 4 years. There's been something said about this game, which
Yeah,
is
like
always kind of a point to hesitate on when it's, oh yeah, it's coming. Nothing for that long.
yeah, and it's never and it's like sometimes it's like officially announced and sometimes it's like not from an official source.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I really, really, really loved Mafia 2. It's one of my favorite games last gen. I actually think it's like one. Actually, I think it has definitely one of the better third person shooters. I think Max Payne 3 is probably the best third person shooter of last gen, but I think like this one is not really set in the same breath as Gears of War and stuff, but it definitely should. I really loved how enemies went down quick and you went down really quick too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for Mafia 3. One of the things I am a little bit worried about is I know that this project used to be like a free to play open world game,
Yep.
and that is effing terrifying.
I don't feel
And
like I feel like that has to be because that was a couple years ago that came out. So I feel like
yeah,
at this point they have to have moved on from that.
I hope. I don't know.
I mean, if you, I just Mafia 2 was so good and did
Hmm.
so many things so well. It would just kill me if it was like, oh yeah, free to play and
Kind
just
of like what they
no.
do with Sleeping Dogs. Yeah, the one thing about Mafia 2 though is like as much as I love it, it felt really unfinished, but the parts that were there were done really, really well. Like there's a lot of stuff that's like obviously missing story sequence. The story sequences are really interesting, but they tie together horribly. It doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense. Like I haven't played the game in a long time, but I just remember that's like a huge sticking point for me. I was like, this game feels really unfinished, but it kind of like okay, it kind of felt like okay, we're gonna cut our losses and just do like the parts we have done really, really, really well.
yeah,
Um, and I kind of feel like that the team is really, really talented. So I'm hoping they have enough time. I mean, they've had a few years. So I'm hoping Mafia 3 is like, okay, we have the time. Now let's
yep.
make everything awesome.
Oh yeah.
What
I mean,
time
if you
period?
can,
What? Yeah.
if you can totally get that Grand Theft Auto feel, but set in this environment and set in this
Hmm.
world, I mean, that game would be so cool.
Well, actually, I like that. I like that Mafia 2 didn't necessarily feel like Grand Theft Auto. I like that it was classy. Well, it wasn't classy, but it was
Well,
classier.
but I feel like that's a part of the setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Grand
that's
Theft
true.
Auto, the setting is always a little skeezy.
And weird and goofy and like
Yeah.
exaggerated.
Whereas
Yeah.
this is just straight up. You know what? You're a classy gangster. You wear a suit. You
Yeah.
none of this like nonsense that Grand Theft Auto has. This
Yeah.
is like straight up Al Capone.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which time period do you want it to be in? I think the last one's in the 50s, I think, because he gets back from the war.
Yeah, yep. It was right after World War II. I don't know. I don't not modern.
Yeah.
I
I
feel
guess
like
that's a good
that
point.
would be a mistake. I think anything like pre 1980s I think would be good just because I feel like as soon as you get to 80s you start getting into some Grand Theft Auto territory.
Well, I think the
When you
80s
think
would
about
actually
like
be, but think about like 80s casinos, like that I would love.
that's true.
And
But I feel
Goodfellas
like
and stuff.
that's kind of been done because Vice City had some of that in it, if I remember correctly. I mean, granted, that was what like 13 years ago
Yeah, and
now,
like I
but
was trying to think of like the other 80s game would probably be like Hotline Miami.
yeah. Which I mean, I feel like this is going to have a little bit different feeling than Hotline Miami.
Yeah. Hopefully. Again, I don't know, games keep getting more and more violent and super dark. I'm really hoping it doesn't do that with like all these other games that are doing. Um Halo 5. I don't know why we keep talking about Halo 5 even though neither of us particularly care. But this
This
has
actually,
got
this is like the first thing I've heard that I was like, yes, okay, now I'm back on the Halo. And granted, it's not a very big thing, so it doesn't
no.
necessarily.
But
It's more one of those things that's just kind of cool.
well, it's cool, but okay, we got to say what it is. So all the pre-order bonuses will be available to unlock in game, which was a thing that people actually used to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like 3 or 4 years ago, it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you can get this from pre-ordering from GameStop, or just when you hit level 40, it'll unlock.
Yeah, they did that with I know they did it with the new Twisted Metal game. The newest Twisted Metal game, like, oh, you can unlock Axel, but you unlocked Axel in the game anyway. It just
Yep.
took a while.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it's cool that they're going back to practices we used to think sucked 4 years ago, but they suck so much now that this seems like goodwill.
But see, that's the thing is like it got so bad that just the fact that you can go, you know what, you don't need to buy this, you don't need to do whatever. I mean, because now most of the time it is, oh, you can pre-order from GameStop and get it for free, or you can give us $5 later.
Yeah, actually, I mean, kind of the reason I got Arkham Knight was because of the DLC.
Well, I mean, you're smart to do that, and I've done that several times where I'll go and like pre-order a game, like it comes out on Tuesday, so I'll like pre-order it online on Monday night,
Yeah, that's
just so I
actually what
can
I did.
get my codes and move on.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, I think it's cool, but I still think this is probably the best way to do pre-order incentives. I actually don't. Actually, the one thing I don't care if you also do like cosmetic stuff. I think that's okay too. Like Batman costumes. I was like, okay,
oh
that's
yeah,
fine. Batman costumes are fine. Although when you like play as Harley Quinn in the Red Hood, I was like, those are like major characters.
yeah. I
Like,
don't. The thing I don't like is, and I think Ubisoft did this with one of their games. I'm thinking it was Watch Dogs, but I don't remember. Where it's each retailer has a specific cosmetic thing, so there's
oh
no
god,
possible way. Like, I'm fine if you go, you know what, you can get all this cosmetic stuff if you pre-order it, and that's the only way. And no matter where you pre-order, you get it from. But it just seems kind of shitty to go like, oh, well, you can only get this costume if you pre-order from Best Buy, and this
yeah.
just there's so many people who want that
Ark
content.
Arkham was really bad about it. Watch Dogs was the worst about it. There's like a really really expansive Excel sheet to
Oh yeah,
explain where to get like Watch Dogs pre-order DLC.
yeah. But
Yeah.
good on Halo 5. I mean, even if it's going back to a formerly shitty practice that now sounds like they're like amazing, I still
Hmm.
think it's the way to do pre-order bonuses because there's just people who are not going to pre-order games. I don't pre-order games. I don't understand the idea of pre-ordering something that's not done, but
Yeah, but you say that, but like, what games are you going to pre-order in the upcoming future? Don't say none because that's a lie.
there won't be. If I pre-order any games, it will be the Monday night thing where it'll just be, all right, reviews are already out for this.
Oh, oh,
I
I
know
see
it
what
is
you're
what it
saying. Like
is.
before
Yeah,
reviews it. Okay.
yeah. Like to me, like right now, I'm not going to go and put down money for Doom 4.
Okay.
I'm not going to. Now, if that game comes out May 15th and May 14th, there's some pre-order DLC, then I might. But
Yeah.
I just don't understand the idea of paying for something that's not even finished.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think they care. Like once they get their final numbers in.
Exactly.
So
And
like, you still pre-ordered it. They still
yeah,
got you.
but see, but again, to me, my thing is I look back like Aliens Colonial Marines from years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know if there was a review embargo on that game or not, but the closer you get to launch, the more you actually know about something.
Hmm.
Right now, all we know about Doom 4 is that 20-minute slice of game that we saw.
That's true.
A
Okay.
year from now, a year from now, the full copy will be out. But next January, you know what I mean? We'll have seen
Hmm.
hours of gameplay probably.
Yeah. Okay. I can see what you're saying. Yeah. No, I can understand that. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think. And I personally, do, actually, I think I've pretty much sworn off $60 games forever now because I feel so burnt on Arkham Knight. Actually, I say that, but actually no. My $60 rule will hold. I said I pre-ordered Kingdom Hearts 3 without knowing anything about it, but I pre-ordered it for $40 because of some sort of pricing error. So I will hold to my I will never spend $60 on a game. I do plan on day oneing a few games, uh, Abzu and Rhyme
Those won't be
and maybe No
$60
Man's
games.
Sky.
Those won't be
Uh,
$60 games. Well, No
yeah,
Man's Sky might, but
I don't think No Man. I think No Man's Sky is gonna be like 40. I think that'd be a good. I think everybody would agree 40 is like a pretty decent price point for that.
yeah, but they've been pumping it so much that I could see it
Yeah.
just because of the publicity machine behind it at this point.
Hmm. Oh, this is a quick news item. That's actually not on our list. They revealed the box art for No Man's Sky.
Oh, it's so pretty.
It's so classy. I was surprised. I feel like a lot of I don't know box art is like I don't know just guy Batman is like it's like Batman on the cover like wing spread and the Batmobile's there and it's like Batman Arkham Knight. It's just kind of like ugh. But this one actually looks like those like kind of the classy 1960s space like sci-fi drawings.
So good. And again, as I've said before, everything about that game is good, down to the picture on the cover.
I'm gonna be super interested once we actually get it, and
I'm gonna be
we're gonna be
super
talking
pissed if it
about
sucks.
it. I don't think it's gonna suck. I think it's just gonna be a lot different than what you think it is. And I
It'll
don't.
be awesome.
I kind of understand. I think you have a better handle on it than most people because like, what do you do in this game? It's like, yeah, that's not the point.
Nothing. You don't do nothing, and I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, it's like Journey. It's like, what do you do in Journey? It's like, well, you walk around, but that's not the game. Like, this is the
And
like,
you get to the end, and when you get to the end, you climb this
yeah,
mountain,
yeah, yeah,
and then the game
exactly.
restarts.
Hey, spoilers, spoilers. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Although if you haven't played Journey now, then I don't know. You should be if you just if you haven't played Journey, just play Journey. That's barely a spoiler.
Yeah.
Um, I guess our last. I don't even know if we're gonna talk about last news story too much. Arkham Knight PC is like crap,
Yeah, like so bad they pulled it from Steam.
which I think was a super classy move.
I do have to say, as shitty as it is to actually put that out, it's very nice that they were like, you know what, we're gonna make people stop buying this now that we got the initial wave of people to put down their money.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think they're prepared to do this because
Although
there's
the
no way
thing,
QA didn't know about it.
oh yeah, that's totally true. But the thing is, now Steam has their refund policy,
Hmm.
so how, I mean, I'm sure, yeah, they probably made a bucket load off of the shitty version of it, but
Oh, that's
at
true.
least smart people and people who know what's going on at least were able to go back to Steam and go, hey, refund.
Yeah, but I mean, I think people are used to like playing PC games, just waiting for the PC for the patch, which is one of the
Yeah,
reasons I actually kind of got. I was actually into PC gaming pretty heavily for like 2 years, about 2 years ago, I guess now. Um, but I kind of it was before I got my PS4. and my PS3 actually. I I didn't like that I felt like almost every single game I play had some sort of issues with it, and that I have to Google online and then go fix in some sort of text file or something like that. Like all these games have, it's like it's so commonplace now with PC games. Like once you get them running, they're awesome. But to actually get every game has its own little problems. It needs its own little patches. And like if you day one any PC game, like there's gonna be a million patches. People love to talk about, oh, The Witcher One and Witcher Two are such good games. They're such good games because they have like 40 gigabytes of patches.
Yeah.
Like they got like the game that you play now, Witcher One or Witcher Two, or even Witcher Three now is getting like more and more patches. Is like it's not the game that came out on release. It's not even close.
But see, that's the thing is consoles are slowly changing over that way too. I know you mentioned it with Wolfenstein that you tried
Hmm.
playing that pre-patch and it was way worse than when after you download the day one patch.
Yeah, I think it might also because the first level in that game is just terrible. But
That's also true.
but yeah, no, there's like a lot of missing graphical effects and stuff. And I think that this is like Arkham Knight too. When I put Arkham Knight, there was a 20 gig patch, something. I don't know. It took like 5 hours to download.
Yeah,
Um,
The Driveclub PS Plus one had one too. Granted, that game's been out full retail for a year now, so
Yeah,
it's
I
probably just
think a lot
catching
of that
up.
stuff is
But
just the DLC is already like built into it or two or something. I don't
yeah,
know. But either way, I don't like this. I think that like people are basically saying, "Oh, good on them for taking it back," because practices have been so shitty for the past like 10 years that this is now okay. It's like no, it shouldn't have been released at all. It should have been delayed.
yeah, and somebody at Warner Brothers played this game before it went up on Steam,
Hmm.
and not just somebody, but probably dozens, if not hundreds, of people played this before it went up,
Yeah,
and everybody basically ignored them and said, put it up anyway, put it up anyway, put it up anyway."
I think the one of the more interesting parts of this is that Iron Galaxy, they're a guy who are notorious for doing bad ports. They did this, but now actually Rocksteady took over the port. I don't know if
Oh,
you
they
know that.
did?
Yeah,
No,
like
I
it,
knew that they ported it, but I didn't know that Rocksteady took over it now.
yeah, Rocksteady like took over full responsibility for it, and they're actually gonna be the ones fixing it. So
Jeez.
yeah, yeah,
Even video game designers have to pick up after shitty employees.
yeah. I actually Iron Galaxy I think is gonna get in a lot of trouble because I think they also did the recent Street Fighter 4 PS4 port that was horrible
Oh
before
gosh.
pre-patch. Oh man, I think they're actually I can't imagine why they wouldn't go out of business because when you got stuff like Blue Point and Hexadrive who do
Yeah.
amazing ones like the Metal Gear Solid Collection, the Okami HD, and the
Mhm.
Shadow Colossus one. I think those guys actually they cost a bit of money because they know what they're doing.
Yeah. But it's cheap and yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Video games suck now. I'm just kidding. No,
Totally.
video
Video
games
games
are
are
great
horrible and I
now.
hate them.
I think video games now are actually better than they have ever been before. I think that not even business practices are better. They're better than they used to be, like in the '80s and stuff like that. I don't know. Games are just at a weird point right now that's either going to make or break um, gaming in general. Although I feel like we've been like this for the past like 10 years. Like this whole past generation has been like this is like when the DLC first came on the scene, and
Yep.
we're just kind of growing from that.
Hmm.
All right. So I think that's all the major news that we kind of want to talk about this week. So that was episode 18 of the Darksliders podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at darksliders_pod. You can like, subscribe, I don't know, do whatever. We're on so much different stuff. If you're hearing us, you can probably subscribe to us on whatever that is. Our YouTube channel, I like using our YouTube channel the most. I don't know, it's just my preference. iTunes is good too. So I guess that's it. So that was episode 18 of the Darksiders podcast with Doug and Brad. Bye.
See ya.